Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and happy Pride Month! Yay! To all my LGBT friends, followers, and newcomers, I hope you've been able to do something nice to celebrate, even if it was something small. I made sure to give myself a bit of time off just to relax, which I really did need. Sometimes you just gotta turn your brain off for a bit, you know? I knew I wanted to make sure to draw something for Pride though, and who better than my ever-present, ever-precious mascot, Toru. Nothing crazy, I picked out some cute clothes for him and just got to drawing. That being the case though, there isn't really much to say about this drawing itself, so I thought I'd use this time to do something I've been planning for a while now, a Q&A. A Toru-themed one, in fact. He's been a staple in my art for a very, very long time, but I don't feel like I've ever actually talked about him in any great detail, but that all changes now. A while ago on my Instagram, I asked what people wanted to know about my lizard boy, and I got some good ones. I'm gonna try to be a little off the cuff with these answers, so if I'm not the most eloquent, I hope you'll forgive me. Alright, question 1. How did he come about as an OC? So, he's my first ever character that I ever made, apart from a lot of fan characters that I had back when I was really young. I want to say like 9, 10-ish. And those were all like Legend of Zelda themed, Danny Phantom themed, you know, the works. I really liked the whole monster creature hybrid thing, and I put them in a lot of stories where they would meet a human character who is usually like a self-insert type character, who then would interact with like the monster character and be like, whoa, that's so crazy, you're a monster, or whatever. So that was one part of it, and then I also just really like lizards. So I was like, Toru, here it is. I'll show you my earliest art of him ever, right here. I tragically don't know where this actually is. I also don't have a date on it, so I can only really guess at the timing of it, but I want to say I was probably 10 or 11 when I made him. So cute. Alright, someone else asked, what kind of reptilian mix is he? Like, was his design based off any particular species, or just generally? So the easy answer to this is just generally, because I think I just picked like the most basic, like generic lizard colors. I was like, oh, lizard green, and then give them stripe brown. Yay! I don't know if there's really anything I took inspiration from. I wasn't really doing that at age like 11, but I think if I had to pick a real world equivalent now, I'd probably pick like a golden tegu or something like that. Here, I'll put a picture up. And in his lore, he's actually spliced with alien lizard DNA, so that's a whole totally different thing that I'll probably get into in a second here. So someone just said backstory, lore, everything, which was in line with a lot of the other questions I got. So here's another one. Why is he part lizard? What's the lore on that? So he is part of a universe where they're essentially were-lizards. They're called Drazier, and they're an alien species that has inhabited this country, planet, whatever, somehow. I haven't decided if it was like an invasion from space or if it was like, you know, the typical like lizard monster thing where they come up from the ground, don't know. But essentially they reproduce by splicing their DNA into other species with a bite because there's something in their saliva. It's kind of very Komodo dragon-esque, how Komodo dragons have like poisonous spit, but just imagine that it turns you into a lizard. Humans are super weak babies, so it usually kills us, but some victims are either turned completely into a Drazier, which I can put a couple pictures up here of what they basically look like now. They've changed a lot, but ta-da! Sometimes people also just turn part way, which is what Toru had. I also have characters who have changed more part way or less part way. Like, I have a pair of twins where one of them has both of his legs and his arms are lizard. And then there's another character who hers is the exact same as Toru's, but it's like flipped, like mirrored on her body. So I don't know, I just kind of placed them wherever I wanted and went with it, like placed the scales because I just thought it looked cool. Toru was also bitten as a kid, so that's kind of where his whole like story starts. And again, I'm still trying to figure out like what I want to do with the Drazier because as a kid, I kind of just did a bunch of dumb shit with it because, you know, that's okay. I'm not trying to say that in like a, I don't know, necessarily mean-spirited way, but you know, when you're a, I don't know, 14-year-old who's into Bleach, what the kind of things that you write about your characters. So, yeah. Alright, next one. Where does he live? Is it our world or somewhere else entirely? So, it's definitely, at this point, somewhere else entirely. I know that Baby Me kind of, like, flip-flopped on this a lot. I think it's, like, a totally different world. Because initially I think it was just a different country, but it was like it used to be Earth, and now it's, like, many years in the future. But, I don't know. I think it's just gonna be a fantasy, like, sci-fi world, with different countries, different world makeup, all that kind of thing. I'm kind of in the process of overwriting all of the cringy anime stuff that I made for it as a kid, which, again, nothing wrong with cringy anime stuff. If you are cringe, you are free. And I also still love and watch a lot of anime, but there are certain things that I need to change. So I want to say that the world is like a rough equivalent to ours, but it has better tech. So it's kind of somewhere between modern day and like Deus Ex, the Deus Ex series, how it's like everyone, like augmentations are widespread, like there's hover cars, like that kind of shit. Somewhere in between. There are certain things that had to develop faster, like medicine, weapons, augments, because of the whole Drazier situation. I mean, all that's cool, but I don't really make it that clear when I draw Toru. I mostly just draw Toru in, like, voids, like this picture right now that I'm drawing. But, you know, it's cool to think about. So someone asked, does he have, like, a day job? So, in the context of his universe, I would say no. He is a contracted worker for an augmentation company, and I do mean contracted as in, like, a forced contract. So, I mean, I guess he has a day job, but it's not great. Not in the traditional sense. So, Drazier hybrids are used to assist in, like, mining and other manual labor, augmentation testing, that kind of thing. Toru's life in universe actually really fucking sucks, because I am very mean to him, but I draw him a lot of the time in excuse me, I draw him a lot of the time in Everyone's Happy No One Dies AUs, where I give him a silly day job, or, you know, whatever. You gotta get the coffee shop AU in there, you gotta get the flower shop AU in there, or the tattoo parlor AU. There's a lot that you can do with that kind of thing, because I just want my boy to be happy in the end, which he will be in the end of his story, but just not yet. Alright, favorite and least favorite food. Favorite, meat, all kinds, but especially like kebabs, that kind of thing. Also, he really likes strawberries. And then his least favorite is peanut butter. I think I put this on a character sheet somewhere that I made for him, because peanut butter gets stuck in his teeth. Favorite activity. In an ideal world, I don't know. I've drawn him playing rugby before, so I feel like he'd enjoy rugby. He has a lot of energy, like, pent up in his body because he's this weird hybrid creature. So probably swimming too. And he also definitely likes video games. He has really fast reflexes, so that kind of thing. He gets to show off and look like a cool boy. Another question, are there any other characters in his universe, blah, oh my goodness, or can he just be wherever? So I'd say both. There are most definitely characters in his universe. I did, once again, the anime thing as a child of, oh, an anime has to have a gigantic cast, right? Because I was watching, like, exclusively shonen. So I made a fuck ton of characters. Some of them I have not kept because they're just pointless. I just made them just because I was like, that's kind of cool. But others I have kept. So the mainstays are Kenji, Mai, Mira, Isaac, Emina, Bastion, I guess maybe Soren, Wesley, Aries. Yeah, there's like a lot going on. All of these characters I'm in the process of reworking to some degree or another, whether it's redesigning them completely or just renaming them, that kind of thing, because once again, everyone had Japanese names because they didn't understand how ethnicity worked. God, it's so funny to say now, but anyway, so the ones that I draw the most, which I don't really draw any of them the most, especially not compared to how much I draw Toru, but Kenji and Mai are both Toru's boyfriend and girlfriend. They're all in a relationship, yay, polyamory. And then Mira is Kenji's sister, Isaac and Emina are twins, and Bastion is a Drazier, he's actually probably one of the ones that I showed you earlier in this video. But some of these characters I haven't drawn in 1,000 years. So all the art that I have for them is incredibly old and it looks bad. But, you know. And I also do sometimes draw Toru with characters that aren't related to him at all. I draw Toru with me sometimes, because I just like let him vibe. He kind of does his own thing, I feel like, in the scheme of my characters. Okay, so backstory, big letters, exclamation point in general. So this is getting changed a lot. I have some stuff that I've reworked already, but some of it I'm still like, I feel iffy on. Essentially, like I said, sci-fi, kind of cyberpunk-y in the future universe. You've got some kind of war or some kind of like tense situation going on with the Draziers. There's all this forced labor happening of hybrids and that kind of thing. Kenji and Mira are the children of the CEO of a company that Toru works for. It's a company that makes augments. So Toru works for this company, and it's not great, and that's how he meets Kenji and Mira, and they end up helping Toru escape. There's gonna be a whole thing where it might have to go the route of Toru being like a special boy, where like his Drazier DNA has interacted with his body differently than anyone else. Something like that. We will see. It used to be even more anime. Like, I went through different phases where at first I was like, I want it to be like a typical like shonen, like something like Bleach, or Fullmetal Alchemist was another huge one that was really big in my childhood. So like, we have a section where it's like doing fights and stuff, and we're in the city, and then we have a section where we're kind of traveling for a little bit, and like all that kind of thing, you know? But, I don't know, parts of that aren't so bad an idea, of course, because like, there's plenty of good anime out there that uses those formulas, but we will have to see. A lot of this stuff is very subject to change right now. Alright, final question, boys. So, has Toru undergone any major changes since his conception? Parentheses, design/character-wise. So, I'd say, this one's interesting because I'd say both yes and no. Character-wise, I feel like he's always been the same. The first notes I ever wrote for him, which are on that sheet that I showed you earlier, were calm, good-natured, and confident, which feels pretty bland, but I think only the last one has kind of changed, confident, because I gave him anxiety. So, you know, sometimes they do be like that, huh? The other part of his design, though, like his physical design, the core has stayed the same pretty much, but he's kind of slowly evolved to be more of like a character that feels like a person, I feel like. I don't know. I mean, here, I'll put up a couple examples of like various Toru eras. Like, his hair started out very anime. I think his hair is a really good example of how he's changed. Like, extremely anime, doesn't make any sense. Why does he have two, like, halves of bangs, but then in the center it's slicked back, and then it also is spiky anime hair and a mullet? Who knows? Anything could be happening. But I kind of slowly developed that over time to be a hairstyle that makes more sense. So he has like the side swoop now, and he still has like kind of like fluffy hair, but it's less spiky and more kind of like curly, I guess, now. And he still has a mullet because I don't care who knows it, mullets are cool, as long as you do them right. I'm looking at you, Solid Snake, my man. So Toru's evolved a lot in ways that I think are really good, and I'm really happy to see how he's changed. I think that he's still very anime. I mean, he still has the heterochromia and everything, but he's anime in all the ways that I love. So good. He also just dresses better too, is the other thing. I forced myself to not go the Scooby-Doo route of he gets one outfit and he never changes. So, congrats, Toru. You get to be stylish now. Alright, so those are all the questions I got. I'm gonna let you guys watch the rest of the speed paint in peace, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Ta-da! You know, this was nice. I like doing a chill, less labor-intensive piece this time around. My last couple were a lot of work, and now that I've finished grad school, yay! I'm like, please just let me have a break. So, I'll see you guys in the next one, and once again, happy Pride!